Hello and welcome to another episode of TesterSpeak. And today I have with me someone who I met on LinkedIn only a few months ago, only to notice that he was very active in commenting on my posts and with very positive thoughts and energy. So I thought, why not have a chat with her and find out more about her? So, with all the pleasure, I welcome as my guest Richa Jasuja. Welcome, Richa.
Hi Brijesh, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you. Thanks for the honor in inviting me here as a guest.
Oh, well, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much. Uh, so, how have you been during this entire lockdown situation, and how are things working out for you?
I think lockdown is treating all of us equally. This is us. We have to decide like which side. It's like two sides of the coin to me, like having pros and cons both. So it's up to us like how we manage both. Of course, there are like negative and positive sides both. So positive part, I think the like which is very important is that like I'm getting chance to stay with my family in my hometown for like longer and like unexpectedly longer time. Earlier, I could used to like travel on weekends or somewhere like at the most 1 or 2 days. Now it's been couple of months I'm getting chance to stay here. But negative side is again like I'm just physically present here, but mentally like I'm somewhere in office or like other stuff's going on. So it's okay. But for me, like physical presence, this time it's really important because my family needed me for some time. So that's okay. That's how we are managing.
Okay, that's a similar story that people have also shared with me. So, yeah, I'm not surprised when you tell me that you don't have time with your family back home. You don't get much of it during normal circumstances, but then while you're there, enjoy the situation the most. That's all I can say. So yeah,
Yeah.
so the most important thing for me is to know, and I'm sure my audience would also like to know, is how you got started with your testing journey.
I think that was a planned accident by destiny, and like it's a combined effort by me and destiny all together. Because I strongly believe whatever you seek, it seeks you too as well. So, like somewhere, for example, like during my college days or like when I was a fresher, only two things comes to your mind. You don't have any idea about technology or something. So, in all your fresh mind, there are two things existing in the technology world. Either is testing or development. So I used to code during my college days. For example, like we had Java classes or something. So it wasn't like I was not able to do or I did not want to do, but like yes, this was something which was not creating interest into. So when not development, so I prepared my mind for testing. Yeah, I have to go for testing. I kept talking to my seniors, like, but everybody was like, testing is something like which is very monotonous. Monetary growth would be a problem after a certain age. We won't be having any future. So I just wanted to be part of that monotonism. Ki what, how and why testing is monotonous. So I joined with that mindset of campus placement. I joined masters and I got campus placement to IBM. And this was my, my induction was over, and this was the time when I had to, get into the technology for training something. So amidst the entire batch, I was the only one like who was praying for testing in one corner of the room. I was just keeping my fingers crossed. Ki I don't want to go to development. I want to go into testing or something. And I could see I was observing silently the reactions of people whosoever was coming to me and talking to me. Ki, hey, what are you planning to get, or what you are praying for, or something? What you are thinking you should get? So I used to say like testing and nothing else. I don't know. Because I was not very clear about what all development is, or like something was really biasing me towards testing. So I could see the reaction of people. She's crazy, like who asked for testing purposely, and she doesn't want anything else. But I was put into Java development project. So I had to opt it because being a fresher, I didn't have any other choice to go with. Of course, we were strictly instructed like whosoever is getting whatever technology, we have to opt and we have to complete the training. So somehow I joined the Java batch. My training started like I became a trained Java developer because we had to submit the project in like series of phases. I really enjoyed my training time. It wasn't something so one way I was little upset because I could not get the testing as per my aspiration. But another side was like I was thinking maybe this was I'm getting a real golden chance to overcome my fear or something, because some way deep down I had like I was not interested also, somewhere there was a fear also for of not coding or something. So took it in a positive way, like maybe I am getting chance to overcome my fear to code or something. So this was my final assessment, which I flunked finally because I selected all the answers. In like in during my training time, we have to submit the project in three phases. So two phases were over. Like this was the final assessment time. I think we need to clear three assessments or something. So this was my final assessment, wherein like I selected all the answer. I answered all the questions, but I forgot to submit my time out. Like my time was over. So the day when result came, I was flunked in the entire batch. I think another two or three people like who flunked that exam or something. Initially, I was very upset. Oh my God, I have put so much into. I adjusted my mind and adapted my mind according to development, and still I could not clear. I don't know what the reason. Then all of a sudden came to my mind, my God, I did not submit the result. So I was expecting. Initially, I was very upset because flunk did something like you don't want purposely, you purposely miss any assessment, that's a different story. But if you flunk or you get failed of something, so of course that's like a setback to you. So initial, like I was very upset. What did I do, or what blunder I made? Like I did not submit the exam. Why did I do that or something? But later I thought, hey, maybe they'll call me and they'll say, "Ki, madam, you don't fit for the role. I mean, you're not fit for the Java development role or something." So that time when people was like treating down testing, like it was underpaid and nobody wanted to shift to testing. So I thought somewhere in back of mind, for example, maybe they'll call me and they'll say, ma'am, madam, you're not fit for the role, probably you might get shifted to testing. So with that mindset, I was just thinking maybe I was expecting the call from my coordinator. But opposite thing happened. Like he called me and he said, Richa, you did really wonderful during the training. So what went wrong? I mean, did you submit the exam? I said, oh my God, exactly. I have not submitted the exam. Maybe that was the reason I could not clear. So he said, so we have to plan the reassessment, and you have to take the another shot for the assessment, final assessment. So finally, reschedule happened. I cleared the exam, and now again it was done for me to. I mean, keeping my hopes high. So it was the time to get the project once your training was done. So I was put into support and maintenance project, wherein like development was completely over. So like we used to tackle work on tickets in incident management tool something. So we used to like test the tickets, and but there was no name as such, because I was too young to understand the concept of course, like there is a easy side of everything, and of course there's depth of everything. So if you look at the easier side of testing, I used to think, yeah, what is this? This was testing I was looking for. I mean, taking the tickets, matching those tickets with the application, if it is working as per the customer's requirement, or the as mentioned in the tickets, used to test and close the change the state of the tickets. Finally, I could work there for a couple of months, but I till that time I could not understand the ABC of even testing, like what all I have done. So I was purely into support role or something. So I had to, due to some personal reasons, I had to quit IBM, and then it was my first switch. So this time again, I kept my hopes high. I thought like I'll give another shot again. I'll study a bit for testing, and at least I'll have prepare my background and fundamentals of testing, at least theoretically. I just wanted to crack that interview. I mean, I've just has had like I think 2 years of experience, 2 or 3 years of experience. So when I planning for switch, like they asked me, ki, what is your technology, what is your core interest, and where you would be heading to, like which technology you would be working on, given you a chance or something. So I kept myself open. So I said, till now, like I have worked as a tester, so I would like to continue my journey as a tester. So finally, I could perform average in that interview because I've never done testing part, or I didn't know even fundamentals of testing. I was so average like performer in the interview. I got the comments from the person who interviewed me, like more than like you are 60-70%. You can, but since seeing your flexibility and openness to work, or like eagerness to know, like okay, chances would be given to me, I think you would be able to do. So I was put into purely testing project, and that was really a turning point in my life as a tester. And since then, I am into testing.
Well, one crazy journey that is,
Yeah.
and who would think that to be a tester, somebody would actually Bunk an exam. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. I think.
It wasn't
So,
tough, but it wasn't easy as well, I think. I mean, I had to do a lot of things to get into testing, and I don't know, I didn't know even why I wanted to go into testing, because at a fresher level, like there are generally two things come to your mind, either development or testing. There's no other technology other than the data scientist or database or something. I had given a bit of idea of these. So somehow I made my mind and kept working that way till I get into testing. So finally I could get.
I can see that coming because, mm, sometimes if we want to get into something, we always keep on praying that we should probably be chosen for that particular role or anything like that. So I understand that. You mentioned something really interesting, and I would like to know a little more about it. You mentioned about the fear of coding. Do you think that is real? Do you think people have that kind of fear and they don't want to talk about it? And if yes, then why is there a fear and why don't people want to talk about it?
There are certain things in life. There's nothing like good or bad or like fear or something, but there are like things which really turns you on while you do. Some things are like purposely or like as a compulsion you have to do, but there are certain things which you really run behind to do something. So as I told you, like during my college days, like we used to had labs also, and during my masters also, like continuous 4 hours of labs we used to attend. So during that lab we used to code. There was nothing like, but there was something which was not turning me on. I mean, I was thinking like I'll not be able to continue my career in development or something, because during, of course, BTech time, like there is nothing like in deep which you really get to learn for your this thing development. But yes, during masters, of course, lab would be longer time, for longer duration or something. Courses would be very much in deep, and there were concept understanding and fundamental should be really strong. So while I used to code, I used to attend all the labs, or I used to code in a way. I mean, that was okay, but there was nothing like which was turning me really on. So either you call it fear of again getting into code, which I really don't didn't want. So yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah. So, if you ask me, the fear of coding is pretty real. I have seen people go through it. Okay. There was a time when even I went through it, but I overcame. So this is a candid confession. Okay.
mhm.
I was,
Yeah, even I could overcome it initially, like for initial couple of years or during college days, because it was not turning me on. So it was like a fear to my mind. Here again, what if I again get into code stuff again or something? Because there are certain things like I strongly believe in karmas, and like 90% of karmas and then 10% of my destiny. Because as a fresher, when you are put into some project, that is how destiny comes into picture. You are not given any choice or something to opt the career for, so that time purely destiny comes into role. And when like you learn something and you try hard to get into, once you're experienced, I think there comes karma into picture. So when I was a fresher, so like when I joined into Java development initially, with that mindset only, somewhere like yes, that fear was already there.
I don't hear you.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, yes. I think there is a problem with your microphone, the headphone that you're using. So if the wire is going into the jack, don't fiddle with it or don't move it.
No, I mean that's all perfect, fine. I mean there's no problem here as such.
Okay, okay. Because I could feel that there is some disturbance in the wire, and then suddenly the sound went off.
Oh,
Anyways,
okay.
okay. So never mind. The other thing that you mentioned during the course of your journey is somehow testers getting underpaid. So Do you really believe testers are underpaid?
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, because first thing, when you are like too fresh to understand anything and you are getting to see the reactions of people, she's crazy. I mean, who goes for testing? Testing is again like monetarily she'll not be able to grow much. Of course, at a certain age or after certain experience, these things start again coming to your mind as well. Of course, maybe you again you too start thinking the same way. Maybe like you'll be underpaid or something. Of course, when it comes for appraisal or something, nobody will tell you directly ki like you into manual testing or something. Then you might not get, you're not eligible for that much of appraisals or something. So luckily, in my current company, every time like I was, I got a good monetary hike as well. It's not like the case, but seeing the reaction of people like made me.
Company. Can you hear me?
Now, earlier you were not audible.
Yeah. So I was saying, tell me the name of your company.
Hello,
Yeah, please go on.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, आपकी your voice is breaking a bit. I mean.
Yeah, yeah, please go on.
Yeah, tell me. Please tell me.
Yeah. So you were talking about being underpaid, undervalued. You were talking about that. So please continue.
Yeah. So I was saying, seeing the reaction of people sometime like, at certain year of experience or after certain designation, you start thinking that way only. Maybe I'm underpaid or something. I don't have any idea of like tool which helps me really code or any performance thing or any thing for automation or something. So like it's not I of course like, and talking to the people in automation, we get to hear from here and there like they are getting this much of monetary hike, and because the reason people will plot it would be because they have understanding of code, because they are from automation, and manual people would get this much only. Because I was satisfied like during all my years I was getting good hike during all the years. Your
Yeah,
screen
please
is
go on.
stuck. Your screen is stuck.
Please go on. That will be fine. That is okay.
Mhm.
That is okay. Please continue.
Yeah, yeah, please you may continue.
Yeah, please continue. What you're saying.
I was saying, seeing the reaction of people, for example, I was like more than satisfied. Whatever I was getting as a monitor, that's most important to each one of us being in IT. Every year, what hike you are getting, what role you are shifting to, what kind of growth in terms of role and monetary. Of course, both the things are important. But seeing the reaction of people sometimes really make you feel maybe you are underpaid, and why they are getting more than this, because like they have understanding of automation tool or something. So I think that's the most thing I have experienced so far.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting observation, and I quite agree with what you've observed. Yes, there is a huge gap as far as the salaries of testers go. It is undervalued. People have assumptions that testing is easy, testing can be done by anybody, testing does not have a future, testing
See,
doesn't.
there is always a easier side of any technology. So just by looking at the, outer of any technology or anything, and without going into depth of something, if somebody deciding this particular thing is easy, so I think probably they are making a mistake in deciding the things. For example, if somebody asked me to write a simple hello world program in Java and just copy pasting the code from internet and like running that particular program just by copy pasting the code makes me feel like I should decide and I should say like this particular thing is very easy without getting into depth of something. So I think they're like it's a huge mistake of like by people. Similarly, there is always a easy side of any technology, be it Java development, be it any technology, be it testing or development or to code or automation or any tool something. So if you're deciding just without by digging out the thing without going into depth of something. So probably that's really a bad thing for anyone. So I think, or even if it's something like takes longer than your analysis, better more than the required analysis, I think so. Right acceptance with the right mindset is also important for people. So yes, there's nothing easy and like tough for as well.
Well, that's yeah, that's what I was saying. That people have these biases, these prejudices against testing, where they talk about stuff like, okay, testing be easy, testing could be done by anybody else, testing does not have growth, testing does not have future. Well, my only suggestion is please come and test, and you will discover yourself what a beautiful field this is, what a beautiful area this is, and how much you can actually enjoy testing. Now, you mentioned something else, and I'm a bit wary of this one. You mentioned that there is a gap between manual testers and automation testers. Okay, I have a reservation against using the word manual because I don't know, it makes me very uncomfortable. Okay, so why do you think that gap is between so-called manual testers and so-called automation testers?
It's all because of, I think, mindset of the people, Brijesh. As I mentioned in my previous interview as well, I mentioned it's all because of mindset. It's not there's no harm in learning little extra. Like for example, you are working purely as a manual tester. There's no harm in upgrading yourself. But I think along with the knowledge of getting something, you should have knowledge of how you are going to implement it, how and where you're going to imply it, because that's a gap. Because people are of mindset the automation is purely a replacement of manual testing, which is never the case. I think past 3 or 4 years, since past 3 or 4 years, I am constantly thinking, constantly getting to see the reaction of people by saying कि manual doesn't have future. Yeah, like it would be obsolete, or it would go off completely out of the market. So I think you guys should have knowledge of any automation tool or like performance or something. But yes, one thing I would say, there's no harm in upgrading yourself, there's no harm in learning little extra. But just learning how to code, we should know like where and how we are going to implement the code or something. You don't know the areas where you can apply this and where you cannot apply this. I think that's learning more than the code learning, that this learning is really important for understand. And another thing which I think, which I always realized since my career in manual testing past 7+ years, the level of domain understanding which so-called manual testers is having, I don't think automation testers can have the same level of understanding. Even not just the in and out of particular modules, I think they are like well versed with the in and out of in the entire application, entire domain. For example, right now I'm working with retail banking domain. So like my wonderful team, like they're really good with getting to understand the in and out from that. Then at times they really understand, make help automation team as well understanding the in and outs, like what should be the outcome of any particular thing. So if that's okay, if they're good in code or something, they can automate the thing, that's okay. But how much they're this thing is going to help them, I think that's just a misconception to these guys, automation guys.
That's right. Do you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about, we've already touched upon the subject. So talking about it a little more, what do you think are the real challenges of a tester?
So, if I talk about the challenges, like irrespective of any gender, so which I have experienced during my tenure in this current organization or as a tester, one thing, poor documentation or no documentation at all. Another thing, email communication or any lack of communication. Maybe that may be from your on-site coordinator or to the clients. Or third thing, that again I'm repeating the point, the poor documentation. People not at all maintain any documents for like maybe be it KT program or something, or any understanding or product guide. People don't used to go through the product guide. They just start testing as soon as you get the application or any new build. People start just jump into executing of this test course, because by end of the day, like what is important to them is the count of test cases which has been set up by saying like client expects this or that thing. So I think that's a real challenges, because if documentation, for example, when I joined the project, one particular project, I'm not going to take the name, I was not given a KT even for single day properly. I just got the 1 hour of KT, and like my billing was started, and I had to jump into testing the same day itself. So it was a situation which was like, you don't know how to hold the gun, and your people are telling you to shoot that too at the borderline, and like, yes, shoot, you have to target at least three or like four enemies, and you have to shoot them properly or something. So I think there are certain processes which we can at least internally maintain, and that was the biggest thing which I found was the lack of documentation. Because if your documents are correctly, your product guide is properly up to date, your test case things are proper up to date, so I think KT and the transition of any of the resource in the project can be very smooth. At least you can meet deadline. And third important challenge which I could find so far is the tighter deadline. I don't know, that comes from on-site coordinators, or I think saying yes to everything whatever his client is saying, whatever client is asking, instead of interrogating them, asking question from them, like how and why would be would be possible for us to come within the complete deadline, complete any particular task within this tight deadline. So saying yes to everything, that's again I think a biggest challenge, because whenever such thing happens, you don't know even integration points, you don't know even tough side of the project, and you have to go through the project. When start working on the project, you get to see the real challenges. So I think these are the biggest challenges which I have faced so far.
Do you think the requirements that come to you as testers, do you think they are all testable?
No, of course not. But to resolve that, of course, once you start static testing, or like you start test case creation or something, so be open to ask the question. Because if you have understanding of this particular domain which you are currently working on, just by looking at the KT documents, or as per your previous understanding of the particular domain, you are always free to ask questions to your to your subordinates, or to your product owners, or like whosoever is the dealing entity with you. So be open to ask questions, be open to follow up on the same, because whatever is written in the required document, not everything is true up to the mark. Of course, not everything is testable. Yes.
Yeah, that's very important. Testability is a very important aspect where you have to kind of get into the requirements, make sure that the requirements themselves are correct or complete. If the requirements themselves have gap, then any code that you write or any test that you write will always be incomplete, will
Yeah,
always
correct.
be inaccurate. So yes, you make a very good point in terms of having complete requirements. Now, another interesting thing is somewhere you mentioned you spoke about product owners, and so you are definitely referring to the agile world. Now, in the agile world, do you think the life of a tester becomes easy or difficult, or it stays the same? It doesn't matter. I mean,
I mean, it
what is it?
doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're switching or transitioning from some particular any software methodology, be it waterfall. People can find like tougher side of that too. But it's all about transition. I mean, initial time of your transition would be always tough for anything, because there are certain challenges which are like hidden to hidden to the team. But later, like once you are used to, you're well versed with the process, and well versed with the fundamentals of any methodology, things become easy, I think.
Okay, that's I think that's one way of looking at it. Yeah, but then somewhere I think there is of course a challenge that testers have in the agile world. They start thinking too much. Testers don't get involved so much, or they are not involved so much into the process. It's more focused on development, not much focused on testing, these kind of things. But then what you shared is a good perspective. It's a good approach that you don't worry about what's going to happen irrespective of whether it's waterfall or agile. If you focus on your strengths and overcome that initial period of transition, I think you should be able to adjust, which is a fair point. Now, you've been in the industry for more than 7 years now. So, have you seen that there is a change in the pattern in terms of how people were when you joined as a tester versus the young breed of testers who are joining the industry now? Do you think there is a gap?
Yeah, I mean gap as in like I'll be, giving very honest answer to this. When I was a fresher and I was joining, of course, mindset of people was really important to me because I kept talking to people whether I should go to testing or not. I should what is the right path for my career. I should, a major concern was to whether to go for testing or not. I used to get reactions of people, and that really bothered me at times also because when I told you this was the time for me to get into some technology like for on which we are going to get training. So I was just observing the reaction of people, and I was really shocked to see the behavior of people when people kept coming and asking me what are you looking for, what are you planning, what are you hoping for, because as a fresher of course you cannot say I want this, and you cannot go and complain the people I don't want to go into this technology. Whatever you're going to get, you have to work on that. So but of course, I mean, you can put your desires, like what comes inside you for particular technology. Of course, you're free, always you're free to put your thoughts on something. So whenever people used to ask me, I used to say ki I want to go into testing, yaar, I don't want any development or something. So people looking at the people reaction, they were like, literally they were, are you crazy, who asked for testing? I mean, people are not ready to opt if they are like, out of compulsion they are given, even they are not ready to accept it. And you're the one like who are asking for, testing. So that was the time, and this is the time. Like that was the time when mindset of people was really important to me. Reaction of people, I used to get nervous. Ki why this is saying that, yeah, maybe I'm like making a mistake by opting the testing, or maybe even inside my even I have speculation about testing. So like that is really bad, I think. So maybe somewhere deep down, I had the nervousness whether I'm deciding correctly or not. But this is the time like I don't bother. I mean, I just so much into love into with my profession as a tester. Like I don't really bother about the people. And same thing. And also one thing that is really important during my tenure was getting the right set of mentor with right mindset is really important. For example, if you are working under someone who is not treating you right, who always I used to say कि yeah, testing have this much of future, yeah, you have to decide it. You should have decided well before you opt out into this particular profession. So of course at a certain years of experience, after certain years of his experience, or after certain age, you start thinking that things start kept in your mind कि maybe I have not decided correctly. But if your mentor is like mentoring in a positive way, कि testing of course it has a career, you should grow, but not you should not rely on others to for your growth. You should open your path. You should create path for yourself. Maybe for example, first thing is you should understand the application well. Next thing is there's not a stopper point to anything because on your learning. So once you're done with your application, you should have the proper understanding of your product. Then again, you should have a proper understanding of your domain. So testing is a endless process, I must say, and the right mentor with the positive mindset is really important. So like my during my career, luckily I never got such a chance who will be like discourage me for anything. But yes, I could meet the people like who were always behind ki you should, in order to upgrade yourself, you should have knowledge of tools as well, you should know how to code as well. So I feel there's no harm in learning new things as per the market standard or something, but along with learning you should know how you are going to, how and where you're going to use that knowledge. That's really important to us.
You make a very good point on mentors. I have been quite lucky to have a few very good mentors, and I still have mentors. I still have people who I look up to. I still have uh, people who guide me, people whom I reach from time to time, ask questions, get answers. However, having grown in this industry for almost 2 decades now, I have now friends. Not exactly, I would call them as somebody who's very senior or something like that. But people who are friends, people who are peers, who have also helped mentor me. I mean, I look upon them to give me answers when I'm in a difficult position. So yeah, as far as mentoring goes, it can be obtained from anybody. In fact, to be very honest, I have had a few testers who are junior. If you look at number of years of experience, okay, they have been great mentors to me in a lot of areas. Okay, I I keep Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, it's audible. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So what I was saying is, yes, we all need good mentors. But we should also look at our sphere of influence, people who are around us, because a lot of them carry good knowledge. Most of them carry very good knowledge and are great source of learning. We must participate in discussions, in meetups, in conferences, in forums. Test chat is a great forum. I'm trying to advertise for the test chat right now. It's a great forum. We have great discussions here. In fact, yesterday there was a long discussion on movies. You will not believe, but I read through the whole chat. Okay, I read through the whole chat and I could see that people have a totally different sentiment when it comes to movies or certain actors, and a lot of it has to do with biases. A lot of has to do with how, as a society, we behave, we interact. And why is all of this important? Is because as professional testers, as professionals in the IT industry, you know, social behavior becomes very critical, and it also impacts the way we use certain products. Now, for example, if there is a product like Facebook, you know, which is a social media app, and people tell the stories of their life, blah blah. If you look at it as a tester, okay, you will also try and bring in all those elements of social behavior into your testing. Say, for example, there is a place where you have to choose moods, right? Feeling angry, feeling happy, feeling sad, blah blah. When you're writing a post, you can do that, right? Now that's one feature where what you can do, and you can test accordingly. Then you have the reactions where you could either love something or laugh at something or something like that. So you need that acumen to test that. Okay, and if you are feeling grumpy about some incident, you will not want to test that. He said, where is the grumpy feature? Or you will write a comment saying, okay, I don't have the right reaction to put here or whatever. So it's just a weird example, but still, social behavior is important. How we test, uh, as individuals, how we test as groups is important. How we collaborate, that social behavior becomes important there also. Like, if we are happy, then we would like to go out and talk to people. We'll talk to the developers, we'll talk to the testers, we'll talk to other people. Or, I may be a very introvert person. If you give me the document, I'll read through it. I will probably write an email to you. I will not go to your desk and ask you questions. But as a tester, it becomes very important that we overcome all this. We are a little more open. We go and discuss things with people because we always need their support to make the product work. While people say that uh, it is a tester's responsibility, yes, it may be, but quality overall is everybody's responsibility, and everybody needs to work together. There is no single person dictating the rules of the game or anything like that. Now, moving on, what are your advice points for some of these fresh young graduates who are joining the testing industry or want to be a part of testing?
Um, First point I'll say for like people like who are ready to join the industry, or like you, as you said, fresh mind or something. So don't create perception set by others. Try to create your own path. Nothing is easy, nothing is tough. For example, if somebody says testing is would be always undervalued, don't consider that. You will get value, but you have to prove your worth. It's always it be it, irrespective of any technology, irrespective of any profession. You really need to justify your skill. You should really should be in a position to show your worth as a role, as a person, of course. I think to rest, I'll say, and second thing I'll say, always don't hesitate to ask questions. There's nothing like silly questions. Yes, it's the mindset of like to the of the people whom you are asking question. They might find it ridiculous, or they might find it repeated, or they might consider it as silly. But it's okay. Don't be disheartened because of their comments or something. Always, because whenever something goes wrong, but if some things are not working as per the expectation of clients or as per requirement document, this would be given to the responsibility of testers, like why this thing was not tested, why this thing was left behind. And only answer would be having we were hesitating to ask the question. So I'll say always open for communication. Always try to bridge a gap which, like, due to any communication with your on site or like your coordinators or your subordinates or something. So that's all I want to say here.
Those are some very good pointers. I think asking questions, of course, it is very important. You rightly said there are no silly questions. The answers are silly. Yes, you should be wary about repeating the questions, but it's okay. If you do not understand, you can always repeat. Uh, some very good points there, Richa, and I completely agree with you on those points.
I missed
And
mentioning
I,
one point as well. I wanted to say always surround by right people with right mindset, like who are always in a position to support you or to guide you in a right way, irrespective of any bias, irrespective of without any bias of any technology. Because for example, if I am passionate to doing something throughout the year, it's hardly possible for me to maintain that passion. So either you should be self motivated. Of course it is good if you are, if not, like there are certain times in your life when you feel really low, you feel discouraged, of course. I mean, you think, yeah, like you're losing your passion, or you're like losing your zeal to learn anymore because you are totally surrounded by negative set of people or like negative mindset. So in that case, I think people with right mindset are really important in your life. For example, at a particular level of my experience also, I started thinking that way. Like I have tested the application. I got the domain understanding. I have mentored a team of 10 or something. So that's okay. I thought like as a career, I think I'm enough done in the things. So what next? Matlab, what next I'm supposed to do? What would be my growth after 2 or 3 years? Where would be I? I mean, like I'll be so handling this same monotonous stuff again or something. So I then really, like that thought really came to my mind as a manual tester. Maybe people were right saying it, like when they don't have future, manual testers has like not very bright future or something. So I joined LinkedIn. I started following few people there, like you were one of them, Brijesh. I started following your, like your thoughts and like your post. I started commenting, and then later I got the, like, joined the group or something. So joined the group when I got the people across the globe. We are not the only tester. Like there are like huge set of testers having knowledge like ocean. I mean, it's like endless. That really made me realize that there's nothing which I have learned so far. There is lot to learn more, and I don't need to kill my zeal to learn. I have to maintain my passion. I have to manage, in order to learn things. So I think people with right mindset is really important for you to life at particular times when you are really feeling low. This is a really one thing which really keeps you turn on.
that's very interesting that you mentioned that. First of all, thank you so much for making for considering me worthy of something. I'm also learning. Okay, the learning is always mutual. You learn from me, I learn from you. So exchange of ideas is important. How we test, what we test, and what we go through in terms of what solutions are there, what risks do we see. So all of this, I mean, and what experiences we have majorly play a good important part in terms of sharing what we are doing. So which is always good. And you make a very valid point that if you are a part of a community, if you are a part of the group, then it becomes very easy for you to understand things because you have like-minded people on the other side as well. Okay, all around the globe there are people who are good, who are talented, who are eager to share their knowledge, who are happy to share their knowledge, who will guide you when you need their help. So it is important for people to realize, and especially for people who are passing out fresh from the college and are becoming a part of testing industry. It's very vital that they catch hold of these other people who have experience, so that they can learn from them time to time. So it's a very good thing that you've been saying so far, that it's very encouraging for the testers. So that brings me to one more question, especially around you said a little while ago that it becomes important for you to maintain that zeal, maintain that energy. Now, do you think there are factors within work that somehow pull down your energy at times, and then you will
Of
need to
course.
recover?
Yes, yes, of course. We are all human, right? So energy is something. Energy is something different from what we were talking about. As per me, like my context of energy would be little different. It's like your physical strength, for example, you're maintaining the balance out of your life or something. But as you, my another perspective was to maintain the zeal to learn. For example, you started working on something with a lot of passion, and you are not getting in a first go, you did not get the required output. For example, even an appreciation mail, create miracle at times. You're putting hard on something, like, you're giving your 100%, and you're expecting at least a little appreciation, good job or something like that. Even that create miracles to any professional's life. So if does not happen, we are, after all, we are all human beings. It becomes really tough for us to maintain that passion and then to zeal to learn. So later point of time, that the things start coming to your mind, like it is, something is not really working your way, the way you wanted. I mean, there is like lot of, even after a lot of hurdles, you're managed to reach this point and you're not getting even appreciation or something. So that is the biggest factor which I found in my juniors, or like people you are whom I am mentoring. So I keep appreciating them by this way, they this keeps their spirit high. They next time they will be putting like other than double the efforts like they were putting previously or something. So yes, like with work culture is really important. Of course, at the end of the day, you are coming to your family, but I think even you're spending 8 or 9 hours of your daytime in within the office, within your colleague, or professionally, you're spending this much of time. So of course, morale should be always high. So again, I'll say either you should be self motivated, or else with right set of people is really important, especially your mentor.
That's a fair point. In fact, in my opinion, we spend more time at work than at home. Reason being, okay, most of us are working from home. We are working 10, 12 hours a day, maybe. We sleep for 8 hours, that's 20 hours, and then you have only 4 hours with your family. So, so yeah,
Yeah,
we
again, I mean, again, like I have seen people saying this, ki once you are leaving office, just leave the stress there itself, or you once you're leaving home, you should, leave your personal stress there. But I think professional and personal, we are like sandwiched between both. If you're personally stressed out of due to something, of course, that impacts your work also. And if you're professionally stressed out due to something, of course, that frustration will be coming. You're entering house with that frustration back of mind कि इतना करने के बाद भी मतलब this is the thing I am getting from office, so what hell office this is, or I don't want to go there. And when this negative vibes start coming, this would be everywhere. Wherever you will go, these negative vibes will be always there. So again, I'll say either you should be self-motivated. You should, if this factor is in within you, that is really big thing for you to maintain it, and that maintains the zeal and maintains your passion. If not, talk to people whenever possible, wherever possible. There are a lot of social platforms you can connect with. I think there are right people also there. If not everybody is like, but yes, there are certain set of people, at least 10 में से एक आपको जरूर ऐसा मिलेगा whom can be considered as a mentor for you, I think.
That
So
is
talk
that
to
is
people, communicate it, yeah. Communicate with the people.
That's absolutely right. I think you've given some very sane advice to a lot of people. I think people, not only freshers, but people with a lot of experience, will also relate to it and will benefit from it. So thank you so much for sharing that. Finally, before I let you go, and I know you've got to get back to work because we are recording on a weekday rather than on weekend like we normally do. So, one final question: what is Richa doing when she's not testing?
Uh, I am not a good reader, so I don't have collection of books. I don't want to read. I mean, I just want to, be like a free bird. I used to roam around, meeting my cousins, going somewhere, going into marketplaces, like where are like lot of hustle bustle. I don't want to sit quiet, and I know I used to go to crowdy places where like I'm surrounding with lot of people. I can see the crowds here, there, like even shopping stuff also, like, it's a great motivation for me. Like that really turns me on even in the midnight, like even I'm not able to sleep or something, or I'm feeling low because of something, so I start searching this shopping site, I get something, and then I start dreaming of thing, how would it look like when I'll get it, order would be delivered to me or something, so what possible way. So when I'm not testing, so testing is all like my profession, of course, because I have extra set of responsibilities as well. I have to manage kid and family as well. So when I'm not testing, I'm completely out of it. As in, I don't think much about that, and like I'll be purely into different word. I'll be like a, free bird, roaming around, going talking to people, especially to the crowdy places. I love to go. Even if I don't shop anything or something, of course, not every time like you're needing something, but yes, I would check the stuff. That would be an eye booster for me always, checking stuff online or going to the places or something. So yeah.
Well, that's very interesting. Shopping as motivation. Wow, that could be a good one. I think I
Because
think
you're honor of your own, I think. You at the end, of course, you'll take suggestion from people, how would it look like or something. But at the end of the day, you'll be buying only thing which clicks you the most, which strikes
yes,
you the
correct,
most. So you don't need any
correct.
companion also. You don't need to be judgmental. Whatever suits you, you can go ahead and you can wear or something. You can buy also. So
No,
again, if I'm not buying, I just go and look around and just a eye booster for me. Yeah.
no, I'm sure a lot of people are going to love this side, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree that they also do the same thing because I know I know of many people who just like to go into shopping sites and
Hmm.
browse through the catalog and sometimes even get excited and order stuff. And then when it comes home and when it is delivered, you try, you don't like it, you return it. People do that. Okay, and it's very nice to actually hear you confess that you do something like that
Yeah.
and that you
I
found
mean,
it
by
to
the
be
time you get
interesting.
your order, for example, as I said, online shopping or something, if you're not in a position to go to market due to something like it's far or something, any constraint. So I personally feel that's giving a target to me to live the happy life. I mean, once you have a target in your life to do something, life really goes smooth, and out of that excitement, things go very fast. I mean, days goes very fast. For example, my order is taking just a casual note I'm saying, if your order is taking 3 to 4 days to get it delivered finally, so I'll be having very lovely target to live my life. I'll be getting after 3 or 4 days, like I'll be getting my order delivered. Then preparation would be started. How would be I modify it and like customize the things or something. So I think like as soon as by the time like or till the time you have any target to live your life, you are doing to achieve something that really makes you feel happy, isn't it?
Yeah, 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 of course. That is quite interesting. Well, on that note, I would like to thank you, Richa, for being my guest on the show. It was
Thank
lovely talking to you. I think you've shared some really cool insights. I think, and I enjoyed the shopping part of it. That is really cool. So thank you so much, and I wish you a very good work day ahead of you, and we shall catch up soon.
Thanks for the opportunity. In fact, honor to me, Brajesh, inviting me here, and then really made me, speak my heart out, like casual, professional, or something which I really felt or experienced before. I think not many people must be knowing about my flunked of exam during my IBM time or something. So how I felt back of it, like the scene behind the back was I was really happy, like I flunked the exam. So moral of the story is like I could speak my heart out, and this is really an honor to be talking to virtually in front of you. Just thank you so much.
I am glad. I'm glad, and I'm happy that you spoke your heart out, and
Yeah,
that's what we want as a part of
yeah,
the Tester Speak series. We want
yeah.
people to be open, calm, coolly confess about the things that they have gone through, share their stories. We will find some lighter moments. We'll find some moments that we could relate to. So it's all good. Thank you so much. I am really glad you enjoyed being on the show. I think we should have a chapter two of our conversation. Maybe soon, pretty soon, I'll invite you as my guest again to talk a little more because you have some really interesting stories to share. So thank you so much for your time today, and wish you a lovely day.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.